For someone my age, Twitter is a little complicated. But Charles Bloom in our office has really become an expert on social networking, and he is working very hard to educate me. But it will be a significant part as we move into the digital world. I talked about that this morning, early this afternoon. Social networking will become a part of what we're doing.
What does it say about the SEC with the economy as it is now, that this conference is still thriving?
Well, we were very fortunate to reach agreements before the full impact of the deep recession, and to the extent that we've been successful there, it's given our will give our institutions some resources to help offset the impact. You know, I said earlier today that there's no safe harbor. Everybody is impacted by the recession. All of us in this room, all of our institutions, all of our fans. And the question is, you know, just to what extent and how long this recession will go on. But we, I think, have been maybe more fortunate than others as an organization to have developed some resources that allow us to do what we want to do. And the important thing is that we want to maintain all of our broad-based sports for men and women. That's, you know, almost 5,000 student athletes. And you know, our goal is to make sure that we can continue to do that. And this gives us a chance.
Could you talk about the strength of the conference? I mean, the way it's dominated the last couple of years, it seems like it could get you better. But yet the competition adds new coaches and the players seem to be better as well.
Yeah, we have been very fortunate. We've got great coaches in our league, and we have great student athletes, and we've made great progress not only athletically but academically. We've made progress in making sure that the news that you write and talk about is news from the field, not off the field. And so I think, to me, there's no coincidence that we've been successful athletically. And at the same time, we've kept our focus on the athletic and academic work of our student athletes. They all go hand in hand, and our goal now is to maintain the success that we've enjoyed. And as you know, getting to the top is difficult. Staying there is more difficult, and that's the challenge for us.
On that note, Commissioner, you've got almost 1,000 accredited media here. How big is this?
Yeah.
Has this become?
Well, football starts in July, obviously, in the Southeastern Conference, and this is the largest crowd we've ever had. When you total up all the media and the bowl representatives and sponsors and television folks, it's about 1,000, close to 1,000. And I think what it does, though, when you think about it, it's a reflection. It's a reflection of the fact that 6.7 million people went to our games last year. It's a reflection of the fact that we average over 75,000 people per game, and we fill our stadiums to 97% of capacity. It reflects the fact that major television networks feel that the SEC is such a broadly attractive national organization that they're willing to make substantial investments and to make us the most widely distributed conference in history. So, you know, taking it from there, I think that it tells us that that interest is reflected in the fact that you find it important to be here to make sure that all of those people have a chance to satisfy themselves about what we're doing.
With everything that's going on, everybody expects a lot more from everybody from Vanderbilt to Ole Miss this season. Is that a good thing, do you think, as far as all these national expectations, because the SEC has been setting the benchmark for the country?
You know, is that good? You know, expectations are what they are, and they're probably neither good nor bad. I mean, the reality is, you know, in the final analysis, the question is, can you play? And how well can you do? And but for us, obviously, the interest in the league that creates those expectations, I say overall are beneficial for us. It's hard to live up to them. And that's the job of our coaches and our athletes. So it's easy for me to say, but in July and August and early September, hope springs eternal, and that creates the expectations, and that's the way it should be. I mean, if you're a great athlete, you have those expectations that you can succeed, that your team can succeed, and you have every reason to believe that you will, and that's critical. That's part of the education.
There's been some talk this offseason, I guess, among the coaches. I guess you could almost call it bickering. Is that something that you're concerned about as commissioner?
Going into our spring meetings in Destin, we had some of that going on, and since it took the focus away from what happens on the field, I didn't feel it was in the best interest of our league long term. And we closed the doors. We had the athletic directors and the football coaches, and we had a little chat, and it was message delivered and message received.
For the most part, are all the coaches pretty friendly?
To me, they're all very friendly to me.
Amongst themselves, I mean, do you notice?
We meet in January after the season as a group. We meet in Destin as a group. They're very cordial. I mean, they're professional. They're talented. They're bright. They're competitive. But they're also civil.
Commissioner, Birmingham has taken at least another small step towards getting a dome stadium. We'll never know if it'll happen. But what does that mean for the SEC down the road? Can we bring something back here?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the bowl game. If you've got a dome, the bowl game becomes a much more attractive event. And I think that, that would be, I think, a real benefit to the community. A new arena would make Birmingham much more competitive for first and second round in regionals in the NCAA tournament. For certain teams and certain leagues, it might create a neutral site for some games. So I'm not involved in politics, but it certainly would, at least from that perspective, be a benefit for the community.
SEC championship game, is that always going to be in Atlanta?
Well, we're pretty happy in Atlanta. The game it's a good venue. Our fans are used to it. They know where to go, how to get there, where to stay, where to eat. It's a non-anxiety filled experience. And we're sold out usually by late winter. There's a 98% renewals of those people who have tickets. So and we have a fanfare. And last year we had over 40,000 people go through the fanfare in 2 days. So it's a successful event, and it's one I think we would be very, very careful before we disrupted it.
I know when you first got here, you preached about keeping the conference clean, no teams on probation. Alabama.
I'm still preaching that.
Alabama recently on probation.
Right.
What kind of hand is the conference taking? Do you guys communicate with the NCAA? Does Alabama communicate with you?
We do not, we are not an investigatory body. We are not a sanctioning body, except for the secondary violations that I talked about today. When our institutions respond with honesty and with integrity, we become part of their team. And so we work very hard with our institutions, and I thought that Alabama responded incredibly well. Dr. Witt took charge, and I think that notwithstanding the vacation issue of games, the fact that the Committee on Infractions did nothing to impact the competitive future of the university was a tribute to Dr. Witt and the way the university handled that.
Who do you like to win the conference?
I got 12 teams to pick from. If you want me to keep my job, I'm not going to answer that question.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, folks.